Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's good evening here in the UK. It's Friday. It's not a day I usually stream. Hopefully you can hear me okay because I'm using a different microphone. I'm actually laved up tonight. And that is because we're going to be taking a look at this. Yes, I have a H2D. This thing is enormous. This thing is massive. This box has been only the second item that I've really struggled to get into the workshop in itself. And what we're going to do tonight is a complete live unboxing. I don't know how far we're going to get with this with regards to setup. We're going to get it out. I'm actually not sure how I'm going to get this out at the moment because it ain't lifting off the top like it's meant to. So I think we might have to open it and slide it down and very carefully unwrap it. I have had the lid of the box off to have a quick look, but I had to put it back on, but I haven't seen the printer itself. It is incredibly well packaged, and I will be showing you that. And the idea of this video is to walk you through it. So yes, we have one. I am going to be crystal clear up front before we get into the live stream. Bambu did send me this printer. They reached out. We had a chat actually with my rep at Bambu, who is an amazing gentleman. And he sort of asked, would I be interested in taking a look at it, but also diving into some technical stuff on this in the future as well, and maybe stuff we haven't seen talked about anywhere else, because I think one of the interesting things that I've noticed in the reviews for this printer is a lot of the really interesting technical stuff somewhat has got glossed over in some of the early reviews. And obviously it's always hard when you're part of release day to sort of put a video together that has everything. And if you're not a lunatic like me, who puts out 1 hour plus videos at times, you're maybe not going to be able to cover everything. And I'm not criticizing anyone. I just noticed that because there was so much going on here, because in essence we had two printers, it sort of made people split their content a little bit. Now, the version I've got here is the H2D AMS combo. No sharks with freaking lasers here today. No, none of that nonsense. We've got a full 3D printer. We have the new AMS2 as well, and I'm really interested in taking a look at that because there's been some really nice changes on the usability of that too. And yeah, we're going to work out how far we get through this. And it isn't a usual night. I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat. I guess there goes the call one. I still would love to have a look, but that's not for tonight's stream. So what we're going to do is figure out how we get into this. Now, when mine arrived, this was a two-man delivery in the UK. They use a bit of an unusual delivery partner. It arrived absolutely fine. The box is in quite good nick. It is up a little bit here because I've been into it once. Now, the way you're meant to get into this box is actually remove these plastic clips that are around the sides like this, which I'm going to do. So you pull these things out, right? And we're going to go that side. If I can get my finger in, there we go. You're meant to pull all of these plastic clips out, and then you're meant to lift the box off the top. So the way this works is the box will actually then start to slide upwards. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. In fact, it's not that I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I don't have enough ceiling height to do that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get my trusty knife and very carefully open the top of the boxes. Can someone let me know how the audio is when I'm on the lav? Does it sound okay, by the way, because I am on the lav? Hopefully there isn't too much noise. All good, bro. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. I don't use the lav a lot. Okay. And what I'm going to do is find probably the joint point and then open that up there, which is here. So over this side is the joints with staples all the way down. I don't want to completely destroy the box, but I think what we're going to do is oh God, it's very well put together. This is not easy. Oh, it's tied there. And then I want to somewhat unwrap it so you guys can see it as it comes. They've used really thick cardboard. This box and this packaging, I think it's over 40 kilos. Just cut open the box. I'm reluctant to go in with the knife. I am a little bit reluctant just to do this. But that's okay then, smarty pants. Is it bigger than the Quiddy Max 3? I've got a Quiddy Max 3. The box isn't bigger. No. That was the first item that I found impossible to get in the workshop. So, to show you how this comes, we're going to unpeel the box and lower it down. And there you can see that's how the printer comes packaged. Let me withdraw this around. My God, this box is there. I tell you what, it's really thick cardboard, like really thick cardboard. It's thicker than the cardboard on the Quiddy. That's for sure. There we go. Move this out the way. That's huge. Right, there, we're in. Yeah, I don't really want it, the cardboard, but I'm always a bit dubious. So, the printer comes like this. So it still comes double wrapped. You have your initial outside carton, and then you have your internal carton. We've got foam at the top. It is wrapped all the way around in more foam. On the top, we have our little AMS guide. We then have a box on the top as well with accessories, which we will have a look at, but it's called the accessory box. Very nice. Oh, they include the filament swatches. If I go to the overhead and probably pull out a little bit, not that I'm used to doing that. We've got the toolbox. We've got the filament swatches, filament holder, and then some spare PTFE tubes, and some other bits there as well, which is cool to see. Very, very nice. Put that back together before we get it out of the way. Proper spool holder finally. Yeah, and that felt, it's not metal, but it's all, ooh, look at this, overhead. It has like a rotary bit. It's got a ball joint there for the filament. Molded plastic. Nice to see. Proper spool holder too. So yeah, very, very nice. Okay, we're going to pop that down there safely out of the way. Now, this is sort of all wrapped up. So the cardboard over the top is like this here. I have to say, I think they have really wrapped this well. I'm guessing they've learned a bit from the X1 releases and the others, because you did have people who got some damaged. Look, it's always going to happen. So, moulded foam on the top. Moulded, same Bambu Lab along there as well. Then there's another piece of foam. And now we should be in the position where this external carton will lift off. But oh, that's interesting. On it was this. Rubber screws for auxiliary parts cooling fan. Look at this. That was stuck to the side. Rubber screws for auxiliary parts cooling fan. That was stuck just on there. That's a weird place to put that. That's an afterthought. Is that like they've forgotten to put it in or something? Right, there's no more on the back. That's fine. Now, this is taped in either corner, so okay. So now this should lift off, and I should be able to lift this off. I should have enough height for this. Oh, just. You can see there, that was where it was taped. Just to show you, so that was just on there like that. So if you're getting one of these, watch out for that. That could catch you out. I'm now going to get barraged by foam. So, we're this far. Glass door is fine. Side panel feels good. It's then wrapped in this tubular bubble wrap, air wrap. I love this stuff. I'll be playing with that later. Ta-da! We are this far. Now, as we've already found things hanging off things, I'm going to take a bit of time just to have a look around. So, I am not seeing anything hanging off this. There is, though, something hanging off the back of the printer. Oh, this is big. This is big. Wow. I've seen the pictures, and I knew in the pictures it was bigger than the X1 and everything, obviously, but only when you see it, it is a big unit. It is substantially bigger than the P1X1 behind them. Mine are in the corner there, so you can't see them, but they're hidden. But I can promise you that is... yeah, she be chunky. Now, I'm going to undo this. Don't know how I'm going to undo that, actually. We've now got a bag with the stickers. Oh, there it comes. Plastic, unlike aluminium. Plastic side windows, but still glass front. I think that's a glass front door. Feels like it. Screen comes pre-installed, look. Oh, look at that. Sits flatter. Yeah, it doesn't stick out like it does on the X1. It really sits very flat to the front and then hinges out. A lot more like a tilting screen on the back of Sony cameras, if you've seen it. That's a lot like that. On the top is our lid. That is taped in place. So they're using this sort of stringy tape to hold that on. Glass lid again. Nice handle on that now. I will show you that in a moment. Oh, let me just try and there we go. So that is our glass lid. Comes in its cardboard. Nice handle on that. Latch is there. I'm not going to unbox it beyond that a minute. I'm going to keep it in that a second, and you've got the new handle on the front. I'm going to keep it in that until we're ready to put it on, just to have a fighting chance of nothing going wrong on the lid. I'm going to pop that safe under my desk. It is glass, so I don't want anything going wrong. Okay. I can see the AMS. I wish I could show you in here from above, guys, actually. I'm going to record that with my phone, because probably I could edit something in on this for what I end up putting out. So I'm just looking above. Inside, we can see all of the internals. Certainly not easy to show you, but there is everything in there. So we have a big foam block and a box. Is it a box? No, it's not a box. Just cardboard. We don't need that. Yeah, I've also seen the pictures of the internal laser. Oh my God, the size of that hot end. That is huge. I'm going to have to get you a way of seeing this in a minute. I'll get my other camera out. Right, we need the other camera. I should have done this before I went live. You need to see the size of this hot end in a minute. Okay. We need to get the rest of this out the box. So, let's tear this cardboard down. Haha, you can't skip, lol. No, you can't yet. So you can see it comes packaged like that. What we then can do is lift up that corner. So it looks like there's foam under each side. Yes. There we go. There we are, more foam. And then I can start to... No sharks with lasers on this one. There we go. I can start to peel that down so you guys can see a bit better there. There we go. That's better. Just like pulling on a thing, pulling on a banana. Right, I want to grab my thingy because I like to have my thingy ready. Everyone should always have their thingy ready for action. Always forget this camera's micro HDMI. So I am going to want this cable, which isn't where it should be. In fact, it's the cable that should have been attached to it is the one I want, which is rather annoying. Where is the cable that should be attached? Full size to micro HDMI. There. I keep my cables hanging. And we'll then see if this plays ball. Because a lot of the time this doesn't. Okay, so now I just need to make this play ball a moment before we carry on. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. And we should, if I'm lucky, get everything working again. I know it's gone black, please bear with me. I'm just trying to get the source to kick in. It never likes it when I do this whilst streaming or whilst doing this live. It always plays up and it always complains. I've just got to get the source to play ball. Hey! Ta-da! There we go. Sorry, my camera just whinged about the lens not being attached. I don't know why it did that. So, there we go. Can you see us all okay? So now you can see in there. Now let's drop up. Let's see if we can get the exposure up for you guys a bit. So let me do that. There you go. You can now see inside. So this is how it all comes packaged when you get it. You have some cable ties, some red labels on there as well. The AMS is hiding down in there. As you can see there, just look at the size of that extruder, guys. That is amazing. That is incredible. Massive dual extruder. This isn't the laser model. Obviously, one of the big changes on this one now, and look, I'm exposed badly for the room. Yes, that's definitely exposed badly for the room, but it's dark as hell in that printer. You've got your filament buffers inside now. You've got your hot end down there. There is an awful lot going on in this. I'm going to actually change out of manual to auto exposure. That hopefully is not working. If we, oh, that could be why. Let's see what that does now. Ah, there we go. I'm in auto exposure now. We can see properly. There we go. So, yeah, really quite cool. Really quite a lot going on. And again, you got everything in there just like that. So, let's keep peeling and getting on the inside. My extruder is also quite large. That, my friend, I do not doubt. Some observations externally. So it's external plastics. It's a lighter grey than I was expecting. I don't know why. And it actually shows it this colour on the website, but I was expecting it to be a little bit darker. More like the P1S, I was thinking. No real actual reason why I thought it was like that, but it was. So there, we're ready to open the doors. Ho, 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 that build plate. Right. You can now see inside. We've got the AMS there. Let's just turn it a little bit so you guys can see it. There you go. So the AMS is located inside. Now, like the X1, everything's held in place with... We've got screws, from the look of it, holding things in. There's screws up here. So if we go over and show you where they all are, just so everyone knows exactly what they're looking for. So there are screws at the front down here. Focus will kick in a minute, just give it a chance. There we go. So you've got screws here and here, here, here. Then you've got one in there. So if I just get into there, you can just see the little red ring hiding in there. That also stands for this side. There's one just up in there. And then from above, oh, it's that's the same ones. So that's the same one as well. It's not a different one. So that's all of the screws we need to move. And hopefully that'll allow us to take out the AMS. So I'm just swapping something a moment, guys. 1 second. There we go. That's fine. I was just moving it so I can get to that option a lot quicker. So we're going to use my trusty LTT screwdriver for taking these out. Yes, I have an LTT screwdriver. Yes, I actually really like it. I think it's actually a very, very good bit of kit. So one. Just reading back on the chat. I've used this screwdriver for so much stuff. It's crazy. I really have used this screwdriver for so much stuff. We're going to want to go that one in there. I love the knurling on the shaft, and you can just do it by hand. It's really handy. So you can just there, and you can just... No, I have an LTT. I don't regret it at all. It's not a cheap. I bought it for myself for Christmas a year ago. Last Christmas, not the one just gone, the one before. I bought it to myself as a Christmas gift, and it gets a lot of use. I tell you what I do like. I take it away with me a lot, and I 3D printed a case with all of the different ends in. So these are 2 pieces of plastic. It's not one big piece. It's 2 separate. So once you undo the screws, they come out. This is just packing plastic. You don't need it for anything. It's not part of the printer. But what that should mean is the AMS is now free. And I can now withdraw it out of the top. There we go, AMS2. Packaging. We'll have a closer look at this in a minute. New AMS. Is it me or is it smaller? I could be wrong. Let me just compare. I think it's a little bit narrower, you know. No, maybe not. No, it isn't. It is the same. No, it's the same. Yes, no, the AMS Pro isn't available in the UK yet. I will be ordering an AMS Pro. I don't have one. I'll be buying the AMS Pro myself, but it wasn't available to get in the UK market when I was ordering. Okay. You can now see inside a lot. My God, wow, okay. Cool, there are power connectors everywhere in here. You need to have a look at this. Let's get you back on mobile cam. So, let's give you a look inside. I'm going to turn my overhead light on, so that'll put a bit more light inside a second so you guys can see. So, there we've got our extruder. This one was sent to me to review from Bambu. There is the extruder, all cable tied up. Looking down inside, you can see the new fan module. That is huge. That's the new cooling fan. Then at the back, that whole new duct. We'll have to have a proper look at what that is. And then we've got those lovely dual extruders. Let's get in. Has a really cool mechanism on it, this does. Similar in some ways to what we've seen from other manufacturers, Snapmaker and others. Snapmaker did a dual extruder where both nozzles would move. On this one, it is just the left nozzle that can move up and down, but it's got some really cool functionality. So a couple of things just to note, you can see that they've moved up to a linear rail on the back now. So if I just go up here and show you here. So rather than the carbon rods, we're now on to stainless rods. From the look of it, they look like stainless. And then we've got linear rails. Don't know what that does. You've got this weird nub in there that sticks out. Not sure what that does. You can see your motors in the back corner there hiding. There they are. A lot going on in this top end, an awful lot going on in this top end. Then coming down, we've got our build plate. Oh, my camera's gone off. Oh, we flattened the battery. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Intermission. Doot, 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 doot. Doot 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 doot. Intermission. Doot 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 doot. Can anyone name this the song that should come next? If there's any sad people out there who know the name of the album. No, it's not The Prodigy, Breathe. Flock of Seagulls, no. Anyone name the band? Ah, Dave's got it! Yeah! Yes, Dave has got it. Is that Smash or actually on the Hombre, Dave? I can't remember. It is The Offspring. I think it's Smash. And the next song is Yeah, 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 Yeah. And it is The Offspring, which is a phenomenal album. Just a phenomenal. I think it's actually on the Hombre, is it? Okay. What a pair of albums. Smash and actually on the Hombre. If you've never listened to them, do yourself a favor. Go off and go and listen to Smash and Actually on the Hombre. Phenomenal albums. Absolutely fantastic. Right, we're back. Ta-da! So, look at the size of that build plate. We'll show you properly in a minute, but yeah, so what we need to do is get these other screws out, which are down there and down there. And then we need to start cutting these cable ties. You can see, look, there's cable ties and everything's labeled. So we've got a cable tie there, we've got a cable tie here, we've got a cable tie here, we've got a cable tie here, and then we need to cut them. So looking good. So let's get this off first. Yeah, one of my favourite albums, that Smash and Extending the Hombre, a phenomenal period of my life as well, that was. It's interesting because I'm looking forward to testing and reviewing this printer. I was reading back, 4 screws, not 2. There's 2 more at the back. Something quite funny. I was reading back on my review on the comments this morning, early morning. I woke up early before work, and I was reading the comments on the review for the P1S. And it's quite funny that obviously the P1S was sent to me to review from Bambu, as this was as well. So Bambu did send me this to take a look at. We're going to be taking a look at some of the more technical stuff on this as well. That's the plan. But it's quite funny because you listen, no laser on this one. With the AMS combo, no laser. There we go. Once that's done, that comes out. I'm going to turn that light off because it reflects on me a little bit. And it's quite funny because there's a bunch of people who write on the combos, oh, you got it for free. You're always going to say it's good. Oh, you're only saying good things because you didn't pay for it. And then you just see all of the comments of the people who bought the printer and just go, this is the best printer I've ever had. This thing is phenomenal. And that has always been the consistent thing. And I'm not saying the Bambus are perfect by any means, but the user feedback from people who've used a printer and haven't used a printer before, and the people who know how difficult it used to be. You know, I've been printing for years, and I gave up for a period, and because it just was even the bed leveling process just, you know, was horrific. And now it's an appliance. It's a piece of white goods now, and it just works. That's the bit. And I'm not saying 3D printing is easier than anything else, because it still has its complications. It still is quite difficult to do at times. But these have made it as easy as it gets. And these aren't alone. There's other printers out there as well. But I love just the usability of the Bambus. So, shall we have a look at the size of the build plate? Let me just move that, and I'm going to move the AMS a moment, because I want to get I'm going to get the build plate, and I'm going to get the build plate out of the X1, which has filament on it from a print that I did earlier in the week. Haven't actually removed the green PLA. Ta-ta. So this is the build plate for X1 and P1S. And this is the size of the build plate on the H2D. So we're going to lay them over each other. So just to give people a size. And yes, I am going to be crystal clear in saying you don't have the full access to the build plate without having it do some clever stuff between the filaments. There is a bit of a limitation in the sense of, because of the way the two heads work, the left head can go right over to this edge, but can't go right over to this edge. And the right head can go right over to this edge, but can't go right over to this edge. So if you wanted a full-size print using it from edge to edge, you actually have to use both heads, both hot ends, to allow you, and it would have to swap filaments. So there is a slight limitation on that. So whilst I am showing it, yeah, you do have that limitation. I've got an X-Max 3 down. My X-Max 3 is down under the bench. The build plate on that is quite large as well. But yeah, there is that slight limitation that is worth mentioning. But look, that is the size of the build plate. Interesting, the colour seems different on the new PI sheet. Well, PI coating. Textured on both sides. I did want to order the other build plates, but they weren't in stock, so I'm going to wait on them. I'll be buying them soon. But that does give you an indication of just how much bigger it is. I think the Quiddy is still bigger than that. I can't quite get to the Quiddy right now, but that is a hell of a build plate. Yeah, the X-Max 3 is a good printer for big prints. It's just not particularly detailed is the problem. I reviewed the X-Max 3 and the bits that annoyed me about it was the very basic bed leveling. Although I have got the upgrade kit for the Quiddy, which I haven't used. So, magnetic again, just drops in, lovely. So, now we need to start removing bits. There's foam and stuff, so I think we need to... I'm going to be very careful of this glass door because I don't want to have an incident like that poor other creator had. No dimensions listed on that, no. So, I'm going to put the overhead light on. Ta-da! So, we've got a bit of foam in here that you need to remove. There is another piece of foam here that we need to remove. I'm just looking round to check I'm not missing anything else. There are stickers everywhere, so there's a... So that's mounted on the rail there. That's weird. That moves a little bit. You can move that. There's a sticker here. Caution, please remove this tape before use. Okay, we shall do that. We've got another piece of foam here. Please remove this foam. And this is a bit of a weird one. This is behind, so before we move that, we need to cut the cable ties. So let me grab me snips. And I'm going to have to try and do this one-handed. Sorry, I'm just doing that while I'm moving my hands to get my snips. So, we're going to cut you. Pull him out. Okay. Sorry if this bit's a bit shaky. I'm trying to do it all one-handed. We've got another cable tie there. That one. And then we've got another cable tie there. Left-handed person struggles. There you go. That's that one removed. Then there's one on the chain at the top there. We now should be in the position to pull this forward. We can now remove that big piece of foam, which is just a giant piece of foam, as you can see there. And then, is that it? I don't know what these are. Look at these, look. So if we go over here, you've got these things that move, look. Let me just get the camera to focus. Come on. So if I push that back, it's pulled out by the rail. What does that do? What is that? There's one on either side. It's that side as well. It's like two sensors that come into the air. Is that to tell if the print head's out of the way for the sharks with lasers? Potentially, yeah. And it pushes in, look. No idea. Okay. Now, let's have a look at this hot end. Let's come out and have a proper look for you. So, whole new hot end assembly. Massively different to what we've seen before. I'm just turning my camera so I can see the screen on it as I'm holding it. You're getting Mr. Shaky footage here today. Does the front fall off? Let's have a look. How easy does the front fall off? It does. It will come off. There we go. There you can see it in a bit more detail. Dual cutters. Then you've got the dual hot ends. Sensors on the side here. No LiDAR on this one. What's quite cool as well is if I just show you this at the back, look at this lot here. So just coming in here, you've got all sorts of power connections and everything going on here. So you've got your filament, your hot end cleaning area here, where it does each one, where the poop chute is. But you've also got these, there's that, but they're also, oh look, that's a lever. So that moves that bit in and out, and that moves that bit up and down. I thought that was like XT60s when I looked at it at first. If you look at it, it looks like an XT60 of sorts, but it isn't. It's just levers. There is a connector down here. I have seen people mention it. There is a connector there. Someone's actually created a 3D print for this where you can plug it. I don't really feel the need to, but you can. You've then got your filament tract here. Now, there is something interesting about this printer that using this with TPU is a little bit more complicated than using it on some of the other printers. And it's not particularly different, but because they've moved the filament buffers inside the printer, rather than removing the PTFE tube from the external part of the printer and plugging in, you've now got to do it differently. You have to do it inside. What you actually need to do for TPU on this is remove the tube from the buffer here, and then there's a hole over here, there. Don't know how easy that is to show you, but there is a hole there, and I'll show you when we have a look at the back in a minute. You can just see it there. Oh no, it won't focus. For it to go out of. However, someone has already made a really cool 3D print that rather than undo this, you add in a new piece of PTFE tube. It goes into these holes that you've got here and here. They've created grommets to go, and you pre-wire it so it goes out the back, and they've got a 3D print that allows you to store it on top of the print head and not let it get in the way. It's like a latch that holds the third tube in place, and then when you're ready to print with TPU, you can just undo the tube, the PTFE, off the hot end and place on the PTFE one. Alternatively, I would probably put a joint in on one of them here and then just change it over at this point rather than do it there. But there is a nice mod for it, and pop in tip and the third tube. It definitely seems a better way of doing it. Now, let's go around the back, because I haven't shown you the back yet. So let's walk around. Sorry, getting through because I'm running out of space. There's the new editing PC. Say hello. I was testing the welder today. For those who watch the channel regularly. Okay, we're at the back. And I'm not back far enough. Let me come back a bit and focus. So here we have our filament inputs. Right extruder, left extruder located at the top there. You've then got your TPU inlet, that's one I was telling you about. AMS hole connection. Let me knock the brightness up. Come on, play ball. Give me more light. Thank you very much. So there you've got the connector most likely for the AMS. It might not be. There's two more connections down here. Look, more power connections. Big poop chute at the top. We have our controlled vent. This printer does control the airflow internally for temperature controlled environment. As a result of that, it has motorized vents on the rear. If we go down a bit further, more connections. Wow, what is that? That one there, look at that. Shock hazard. I'm guessing that AMS, might be the AMS power connector, probably. We then have, please keep safety key properly for please keep the safety key properly for enabling the power. What's this? That goes into there. It's a safety key that goes into there for the power. Ah, I know what that is. For those who are screaming about it in the chat, that is probably for the laser model, because the laser model's got an emergency stop button, and I'm betting that's where the emergency stop button goes. And when you don't have the laser sharks with laser version, you have an emergency key that goes inside. That is what I would put my money on. Thinking about this, I had to think about it a second. That makes some sense. So then we've got a power connection, and then you've got the rest of the info down the side. Little lug there, do you know what that's for? Little lug, it's a sensor, look at that. There's a sensor in there. Can't show you that very easily. Very cool. Okay. Are people screaming print yet? Ah, someone's just said so it's for the stop button. Yeah, I can... interesting about this today is obviously, look guys, the pricing of this stuff has all gone to hell at the moment. I'm just going to turn the big light off. The pricing has gone to absolute hell right now with the US. Nothing to do with Bambu. They're obviously facing the same issues as everyone else. But yeah, I appreciate it certainly isn't an option for everyone. I am always very, very humbled and very lucky to be able to play with these things. Here we go. That's a much better handle. That is a much better handle. Much better indeed. Okay, let's clear this here all out. Are we going to power it up? I'm a bit worried about doing a print on this table. If I'm honest, I am a little bit worried. I do know, and that's something I will look at actually, this is meant to come with really rubber feet. Let's have a feel. Oh wow, they are incredibly soft. Oh, that's like silicone. That's silicone feet. That really is. I haven't seen a power cable. Is it in with the AMS? Let's have a look. Right, I'm going to open the key and place it in the back. Okay, so I've pushed the safety key in. Overhead. Let's have a look at the AMS, shall we, guys? The power cable was tariffed. I'm wondering if it... Oh, yeah, it's in here. I can already see. Overhead. We need a bit more light than that. No, 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 no. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is not the laser model, no, H2D AMS combo. So this is the AMS 2. The Pro wasn't available yet. I will be ordering a Pro model in. Ooh, I love that stuff. So we have included the little piano music box hand winding kit. Very cool. I made the Bambu mouse. I love the shape on the Bambu mouse. The left-handed version, because I am ambidextrous, I can do bugger all with both hands. But I use the left-handed mouse on my mobile system all the time. I love the Bambu mouse. I really do. Okay, so AMS 2 foam. Yes, unwrap the humidity packs. Yes. So there's a box for the power cable. I was wondering where it was. And they even got the plug right. UK, thank you very much, Bambu. It's nice to see. You'd be shocked how many companies I get stuff from where they don't include a British plug. I'm just unwrapping that because we're going to want that in a minute. So in here, now there are some big changes in here, and the big changes above all is this, and it is the fact, number one, you can now get to the PTFE tubes from the inside. You don't have to strip it down. One of the complaints on the other AMS was if you left filament in, it can go brittle, and PLA especially will break off in these tubes because it always leaves a piece in, and it breaks off about here, right? And it breaks off into the tube, and you had to actually remove this whole unit to go and get to it. Now, I actually said a while ago, I think Bambu should put an access hole in the bottom of the AMS with a rubber seal. So you just cut a hole, a door with a clip on either side that you could just unclip and get to the bottom. But they've designed this better that you can now get to it from the inside. You don't need to get to it from the outside. So if it does snap off, it's obviously controlled. Now, there are a lot of upgrades in this AMS. I'll talk about that a lot more. We have our discount at the back. You can see them there. I'm not going to unwrap them yet. I will do that when everything is settled. We've got our upgraded motors, our rollers, plastic rollers at the back. So they are plastic. They are rubber. I see people talk about TPU. So right now this AMS is not standard TPU compatible. It will work with the Bambu AMS TPUs, but not standard TPU. The Bambu AMS TPU is quite hard. It's a little bit brittle as well. In my testing, I do have some rolls of it here, and I've been testing it for FPV, and it is a little bit fragile is the term I'll use. It does break. What I will say though is I do know that there are people who have had incredible success modifying their AMS for normal TPU, and I'm going to do that with one of my existing AMSs. I will actually have a video coming on doing it and let's see in how it works, because I do know it works well. Now I actually have technically a spare AMS. I'm going to do the video on the mod, and we're going to see how well it works. Now obviously with the H2D, technically you can run two colors of TPU straight out the bat on the top. You can do that straight away. But the modified AMS TPU is what people want to see. Now, this 2 Pro also has some control. There are vents on this AMS somewhere. There it is. There is a vent underneath on this, so let me just flip it over and go on the overhead. There is a air vent there. You can see it on the bottom. That is to control the humidity. There's another vent over here as well, which it controls. It's about the same size and shape. Really, there's not a great deal to show you on it other than that. Now, we need to get the lid unwrapped, because we need to put the lid on. And then we need to power it up. A lot of people are very interested in TPU and in AMS because it allows for some really interesting prints. Oh, there we go. Big glass lid. Oh, we're going to mount the AMS. We'll have to grab a spool of filament. In the kit, we then have some tubes and our wiring. So let me just have a look at this a second, where this plugs into. I'm going to do this by the seat of my pants rather than reading the manual. Interesting, there's a DC power connector on the back of that. We're going to want this connected, so this needs to go in. Okay, so that's in there. We're going to connect to right extruder. We'll go with that one. Is that how that goes? Does it go in that far? Is that what it's meant to do? That's weird. It just kept going. That's weird, it goes in like that much. We will plug in our AMS. Here we go. Now we need power. Anything can be done with the AMS waste poop. It's hard. It's really, it is, you know, it does feel like an incredible waste at times. But it's, in many ways, it's nature of the beast, unfortunately. Now, I'm going to plug this in to my battery bank. I tend to use my 3D printers on an external battery. Okay, we're ready to power up. 1, 2, 3. It's coming alive. It's making some noises. Oh, it's lit itself up. So, let's show you what the setup wants. Should we take a look? So you guys can see it. Oh, let me just get myself sorted. pop the screen up. Oh God, no, the angle was bad for you there, wouldn't it? Okay, let's get the focus. So, English, next. Probably want to turn that brightness down a little bit. Next. So we've got Pacific Europe. I'm going to class myself as Europe. I don't think I am Europe now. We've then got the choice of the Wi-Fi. So we're going to set it up on the Wi-Fi network. It's now asking for my key. I'm going to put you away for a second whilst I do this. Two moments. Here we go. It's connected to the Wi-Fi. So it now wants me to scan the QR code. So we're going to put you down here. I'm going to find Bambu handy on my phone. And that should then link it to my account. Devices, click add, scan QR code, boom. There we go. It's then letting me add this to my account, confirm the bind. It wants me to name my printer, which I'm going to do. Boom. It's now logged in. So I just show you on the overhead. It's all logged in on my phone. What's it showing on the front? Oh, so there we go. It's already picked up. It's already picked up me. You can see, Mad RC. Next, agree to the terms and conditions. Yes, 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 yes. Right, so remove the 4 screws and ensure that the heat bed is unlocked. So, I have not removed those screws yet. I didn't see them. That is a good job. It warned me. I think I saw them and I've forgotten about them. So 1 down there, 2 at the back, and another down there. That was lucky. Yeah, I run my X1 and my P1S on a Bluetti battery bank for 2 reasons. Number 1, I started to get tripping with my X1 on hot prints. Anything over 100 on the bed, well, over 90 on the bed, and I started to get tripping. And there's nothing wrong with the heat bed. I know people have said if you replace the heat bed, that problem goes away. But here's what I found. If I run the printers on a Bluetti power supply, whilst the power supply is on mains, because it offers pass-through, absolutely fine. Won't trip. It'll do whatever I want it to do. It only trips when it's on direct mains. But if I run it on, and it's not down to earth, I've checked the insulation resistance, it's absolutely fine. It's obviously the resistance is coming down a bit. It isn't particularly unusual for some heating elements to drop the earth resistance, insulation resistance when they get hot. It does happen, trust me. I actually work in an industry where I know about that stuff, and I'm not particularly worried. You actually see it a lot with pyro ovens. A pyro oven will actually trip out as well when you put it in pyro mode. You get it with other things that get very, very hot. Just trying to undo this last screw. There we are. So I run it on the Bluetti power supply, and it's fine. But it also gives you a bit of a backup. Ta-ta! Okay. We have removed the 4 screws. What are those up there? Remove 4 screws and ensure that the heat bed is unlocked. I think it is. Next. Motor noise calibration. So we're going to do all the calibrations. I love the light bar along the bottom here. It is not going to like this table. It is going to move around. Trying to see if I can get this foam out yet. There's more foam under the bed. There you go. Metal base. Bottom of the print is metal, not plastic. Lots of screw holes in the base as well, which looks like they've mounted stuff to. Table. No, this is a table. This is actually a table. Right, let me show you guys this a minute, because that looks cool. I want to see if you guys can see. So, what's going on? Look at that. That is the little lever that moves with the nozzles. So it then had swapped. Trying to get this camera to focus. It's just doing its heaty bit. That is cool. What a great view of the nozzle changing then. See if I can get it for you again. I'm going to come back and answer some questions now once I want to see what it does. We're going to see it swap. That is awesome. That is just so cool. Let me move across to the right camera. There we go. It catches its own ooze. That is cool. So now it's just going to do its cals. So we're going to let it do that a minute. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's doing the auto bed level at the first of all. This thing's going to break so much. I don't know. Look, the Bambu has been very reliable. I love that light bar along the bottom of the bed. That is cool. I don't know. I think, look, is it more complex? Yes. Build quality, just to, oh my God, I've just noticed. That's a nice touch. The Bambu... Okay, that's a touch I'm not sure they needed to do, but they did. I'll show you this. On the side of the glass door, the Bambu logo. Come on, will you focus? Bambu logo is illuminated. That's actually illuminated. That's really cool. So, perspex on the sides. Where's the external spool holder? I haven't fitted it. It goes on the back. It's in the kit down here, but I haven't fitted it yet, so that must go on the back. I'm a diode Voron guy, but I have to say my X1 has been one of the most reliable things I own. Yeah, that is the truth. Honestly, my P1S, I still look. I think this is a phenomenal looking printer. Is this the ideal printer? No, not for everyone. I still fundamentally say 90% of people can probably get away with the A1 Mini. If you don't want an A1 Mini, the P1S is a phenomenal printer, and I recommend the P1S. It has an LD. I did that before you. The P1S is a phenomenal printer. X1 is great. It works brilliant. I'll be honest, I think for most people, the upgrade to the X1 is not worth it. Look, I'm going to always tell you the truth here on the channel. I think the X1 is phenomenal, but I think you're better getting a P1S with the AMS combo. A1 is great. I never reviewed the A1, but I agree, it's probably great for 350. And this is in a different league. You know, look, let's not pretend this is the perfect printer for everyone. Someone said, I really had my hopes for a tool changer for multi-material. Yeah, you haven't. It's interesting. I was reading a lot of reviews on the other makes, the Prusa, and whose was it I watched where they compared this to the XL, and I thought that I was desperate for the XL to be amazing, and hearing even now so far down the line how many problems there are with the XL, it also seems incredibly basic in a technological stance as well. The tool changer is interesting, but they do sound like they are having low. It's still unreliable. At least it prints properly now. It didn't print properly when it released. There are not so many issues, but when you just listen to some of the silly issues people are still having, Creality seem to be in a right mess. The K2 is having big issues from what I'm reading, with the cables failing. Creality just released that new little printer to sort of go up against the A1, and I was offered one to review, but I actually had to turn it down because, wait for it, it will only print their special high-speed TPU, and it will not work. And when I mean not work, I'm not talking about their little AMS. I'm talking the extruder will not extrude normal TPU. And I had to say, sorry, I can't review that on this channel. I'm an FPV channel. I may as well not even bother with that printer on this channel, because if it can't do that, that table is moving. Man, those feet are soft. Look at this. That's how soft the feet are. Because that's not the cardboard, that's the silicone feet. Wow. But yeah, so I actually ended up having to turn down that Creality printer. I would like to have had a look But yeah, like I can sit here and go, yeah, guys, I'm going to talk about a printer today. And by the way, you can't print TPU on it. It's like, really? Is that where we're at? I do know that the XL has definitely improved. The XL definitely looks like it's improved. I also think the overall design is a bit janky. I don't like the freaking bellows cover. I don't get why they haven't built the XL into a proper printer. I don't quite get that. Hi Chilla, I've tried PPA CF and Tumula, which so far prints fine on the X1 carbon, but horribly on the H2D, with even having issues with polycarb, but the latest beta firmware did improve things massively with VFAs. Okay, that's interesting. I need to try poly. So what printer do I recommend for a newbie? Go take a look at the A1 Mini. If the bed size is big enough, you're fine. If it's not big enough and you don't intend to print temperature stable filaments, and what I mean by that is ABS and anything that needs a temperature controlled environment, maybe look at the A1 over the P1S. I generally though have this order: A1 Mini, P1S, and that was the two. And then this fits into a very different market. This is if you are pro. A1 Mini with AMS Lite. I actually don't recommend the A1 with the AMS. It's not that I don't like the AMS, I just don't think most people need it. I think for most people, you don't need the AMS. I actually just say buy the $160, $170 printer. The door handle is way too skinny for your fingers. Oh, I can't really get mine in behind the glass, and I'm fat. Yeah, it probably will mess with the calibration data, agreed, but I'm going to have to recalibrate it later anyway. Yeah, I should probably close the door. I sold the A1 Mini for the A1 with an AMS. I'm not particularly worried at this point on the calibrations for motor sound. That'll have to be done later anyway. This is motor noise cancellation noise. Until it goes on its correct spot, I'll have to redo all of the calibrations again. I'm going to do them now, and then we're going to do a benchy. Yeah, that... Look, I'm going to put my weight on the table, right? It's moving me. Is that normal? Yeah, this printer I do know has very flexible feet. Yeah, we'll do a firmware update once this finishes. I should have... Okay, so that's something I'm going to criticize Bambu about. So, and I've criticized Quiddy for this. It has gone to the calibrations before prompting for a firmware update, which then means you need to do the calibrations twice, in theory. That's a little bit annoying. Quiddy had that same problem. Surely the best way would be to prompt for update, because I did the Wi-Fi, if you remember the configuration, I was online. It should have then gone and had a look and said, hey, we've got new firmware, do you want to install it? This printer does have very flexible feet. Does it have Ethernet? No. Only Wi-Fi, unfortunately. Only the Pro Bambu has Ethernet. What's the differences between the AMS2 Pro and the standard version? Remember, the AMS Pro isn't the AMS2. So you've got the AMS, the AMS2, and then the AMS Pro. Okay? The AMS Pro is a fully heated AMS module that will allow you to dry your filaments. I think, is it, I need to check what temperatures. AMS Pro. I just need to check the AMS Pro spec. It is AMS2 Pro, actually. I thought they called it, oh, the AMS2. I thought it was AMS Pro. Okay, that's me. It's a mistake on my side. Someone said, yeah, that is quiet. I'm just bringing up the spec for the AMS2 Pro. Sorry, that was my error. Sorry, someone asked what filaments situations you need temperature controlled environment. So ABS, ASA, polycarb, a number of the more complex carbon filaments prefer a temperature controlled environment. So ABS will warp if it's allowed to cool. Nylon, there's a whole host of them. I'll never remember them all off the top of my head. But the filaments, take ABS an example, it shrinks as it cools. So if the temperature environment isn't kept the same, as your print head moves up, your print will warp. It'll actually warp as it's cooling. So what you need to do is try and keep enough temperature into it to counteract the warp, or nail it down in the corners. But yeah, if you're not printing those filaments, you really don't need it. So the AMS, you've got the AMS2 Pro, which is this one. Let me get through this now. I got it all mixed up. AMS2 Pro. You have AMS HT, which is the high temperature one. It's doing the resonance. You hear that? It's doing the resonance stuff. So yeah, so the AMS2 Pro has active air vent and will dry filament up to 65 degrees C. So this has those little air vents, it has fans, and it will dry filaments up to 65 degrees C. If, though, you want more heating, you have the AMS HT. The AMS HT from Bambu, let me just find the spec, accessories, the AMS HT is a single feed AMS, which does up to 85 degrees. Now, what I mean by a single feed is it's a single AMS unit. So the AMS, this single one will go up to 85 degrees C. But this isn't available yet. Your AMS2 Pro, which is this one here. What there isn't yet is an AMS2. And the fact that the word Pro is on the end of it, I'm guessing there's going to be a basic version of the AMS2 coming as well. It's doing the resonance testing. This AMS is also going to be, mine says AMS2 Pro on it, yes. You can, in theory, put more than one HT. Yes, you can. You can use the splitters. Funny enough, I ordered a bunch of the Bambu splitters. I've got them here. You can do with the splitters over to multiple inputs. I'm just waiting for it to do the final cals. It's still doing its thing. Oh, wrong button. Wrong button. We're getting there. There we go. What is interesting is this uses external power off as an option. So there is on the back of this AMS a DC input, but you don't need it with this printer. It says here for H2D owners, it can power any one of the AMS2 Pros connected for drying. So if you're not planning on running multiple AMS2 Pros, you won't need an adapter. So they don't include an adapter in the box. You don't need it for running one. But if you wanted to run more than one of these, you would then need a power adapter for the additional AMSs. And the HT uses external mains. I've not seen much of this one. I don't know if it's got a mains input directly on the back or a power adapter, but it uses mains. It pulls about 100 watts when drying. Yeah, what's the spec say? Do they say the wattage? I haven't actually looked. Am I going to test the laser engraver? I don't have a plan to yet. It's not... I might. I don't have the laser. Have I ever looked at the tubular filaments? I haven't. I've seen them. They're incredibly expensive, usually. I have looked, but I've never tried them, is the term I'll use. This printer is rated for quite some power. I think the internal PSU on this, when I was looking at the spec, was quite crazy. 1300 watts capable. I found a superior alternative to the Bambu 4-in-1 filament splitter on AliExpress for £5. Interesting. Spec is high, but in printed nylon it only goes up to 300 watts. Yeah, like in the testing right now, it's on the external supply, it's on the battery. Oh, I can't see the display, so... Yeah, and look, you have the option of 2 on this. So 2, a lot of people are looking for multi-materials who want 4, 6, 8, like maybe on the Prusa. I think 2 is suitable for a lot of people. You can do multicolor TPU with 2. You can do some nice stuff there. Sorry, it's been a long day. Pulls 2 kilowatt, wow. %60 done on the cals. I'm not ordering anything from AliExpress after the tariffs. Yeah, look, guys, for those who have been watching, wow, some of the pricing in FPV has gone crazy this week. Race Day Quads and others putting pricing up already. Not sure how I feel about that, considering that, in my opinion, a lot of pricing has been put up before they've paid more. I call that scalping. That is just scalping, in my opinion. And I'm going to be calling that out on Sunday's stream. That is absolute BS. But I have seen some scary increases. Some real scary increases. Interesting. But yeah, race day quads, I think, were highlighted. What I think this will do, if this stays, I can see a few FPV businesses going out of business. Honestly, I think people will just stop their spending for a bit. I will. It's quite interesting because I don't really care about tariff. All this nonsense on tariffs. We have import taxes in the UK. To me, the fact that there are taxes on American, European goods never stops me ordering. I was testing the K-Weld today. It's finished. It's built. It's over here. I was doing some welding testing on the bench earlier. I'll have a video on that next week. And I got stung for import duties on that from Germany. It didn't stop me buying it. It was just what it was. The only thing I will say is I was going to order the capacitor bank, and I'm now reluctant to, having spent so much money on import duties. I would have liked the capacitor bank for the K-Weld as well. But now that's at that cost, I'm going to think again. In some ways, I wish I'd ordered it at the same time, because I'd only been hit once. Even the postage was quite heavy. Good bit of kit, by the way. Started doing welding. I put some pictures up on my Discord earlier. And where are they? To show you guys. Discord. I've lost Discord. I put the batteries in the bin, but I put a couple of pictures up earlier, some test welds. So this was the first test weld while we're waiting for the printer. Still calibrating. This was the first test welds. This is just testing on some old AA batteries with some nickel strip. You can see there I'd already done a test weld and ripped it off the battery. But there I'd done 4 welds. And there you can see me doing a test. And you can see it's ripping through. That looks solid. That looks real good. You know it's good when you're ripping out. So, really pleased so far. The only downside is I'm having to use a massive lead acid battery to use it on the bench. My God, does that move? I wonder if it's going to ask for some filament in a minute. I guess I should get some filament ready. So, do we want to test it with some Bambu PLA Basic? Or should we give it some generic PLA and see what it does with the Benchy? It's doing a nozzle offset calibration at the moment, just so you know. So it's done the vibration, input shaping. It's done bed level. It's now doing the nozzle stuff. I like the windows in the side. I have to say, I really like that. That's, you guys need to see that. It's a lovely view there through. That is a real nice little touch, right? That you wouldn't expect. That you can just see through, look. trying to focus on the inside rather than the glass. But that's cool. I like being able to see down there. It is. It's really nice. Plastic on the outside. So there's no aluminium here. Oh, Blue Sky FPV. Thank you for that. 55 Canadian. Is that 55? 5 Canadian dollars. Sorry, I thought I saw 55 then. 5 Canadian dollars. Thank you for that. Yeah, so the K-Weld video will be coming this week. I'm going to be back on the Open IPC testing tomorrow. My plan is to get some flights in tomorrow on some updated settings. It is interesting that the likes of Race Day Quads and others have already put their pricing up with external stock. Rubber screws for auxiliary parts cooling fan. Why are these here? Does anyone know why they're here? That's the auxiliary parts cooling fan. Why are there extras on the side? I'm intrigued. Will this cut a frame out of carbon fibre? No. I'm looking at the manual now. Should we have a look at the manual? On the overhead, nearly done on the cals. Oh, you're all set. Wait a minute. We're all done. So, let's have a look at what firmware this printer has shipped with. So, what did someone say the latest was? It's shipped with version 01.00.01.03. It has a little red dot next to it. And there is an update available for both the printer and the AMS2. So we're going to have to do the update. Oh, it says it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes. Really? Please don't take 20 to 30 minutes. That I'd like to see changed. That sucks a little bit. We wasted all that time doing the calibrations, and now we've now got to wait for the firmware update. 4% downloaded. So let's just have a look in the stickers and manuals. What do they show anything to do with these screws? Quick start guide. Firmware update takes about 30 minutes. Oh, really? I need a cup of tea if that's the case. And then you'll have to calibrate. Quick question, do you guys bed level before every print? I do. Right, so there is a trick to the Bambus you might not know. You don't need to bed level after every between prints. If you're printing back to back, the bed level calibration will stay between prints. You don't have to recalibrate every time. So if you're going to print 3 different things in a row, you can do the bed level cal on the first one, and then don't bother with the bed level cal on the next 2. If you power reset though, you will need to change it. Flow calibration is different. That's based on filament. So if you change the filament, but if you don't change the filament, you don't need to redo the flow calibration either. It basically, the X1 and the P1S will remember the last bed cal and flow calibration settings used. if you're printing back to back to back. If you power off, you've got to do it all again. Yeah. If you power off, A12, I believe the Mini does as well. I've often not bothered with the bed calibration on the Mini and it works fine. You don't have to do it every time. As long as you have not powered down. If you power down, it's a different kettle of fish. Right, I'm still trying to see where these nuts go. Why do Bambu include accessories included? Accessories included. Those screws are not mentioned in the accessories included. That is an afterthought. Why have they put those screws there? Why have they put those screws there? That to me tells me it's an afterthought, and that to me tells me that either they've changed something because they wouldn't give you them for no reason. Should we search Google for this? Probably for the laser. Well, no, what they're called is rubber screws for auxiliary parts cooling fan. Rubber screws. Let's have a search. So we're on the Bambu wiki. So they show these there. These look. Ah! When to use. During transportation or maintenance, accidental impacts may cause the rubber screws to become dislodged. You can refer to this guide for handling the situation. I think they've had users receive some of these printers with these broken. And I think they have slapped a couple of extras into the sides of the later production boxes. It's not in the accessory kit. They've tossed them onto the sides of the boxes. That's what I think. Hell, I'm going to go as far as to say I think they've added that externally through the handle hole on the side, because that's where the handle hole was. That's what I think. I think they've had a few of these arrive damaged, is what I think. And as resulting in that, they've tossed a few extras in. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's later production or they've even added it after the initial batches went out. And because where that was placed was in a weird place on the main outside cardboard, and the only way you would get to that is you'd get to that through the handle hole on the side. 2 minutes, a quick question. What is the best goggles for beginners in FPV? A hard question, that. Depends your budget. It depends your budget. The HD0 Box Pro is a very good place to start if you're not getting into DJI. If you're getting into DJI, then I guess the N3 is all right. If not, the Avatar basic goggle is also a good one. It comes down to the system you're going to choose. That's a long update. So, really, you are talking at least an hour to get this printer up and running. Which is a shame. I didn't get them with my early H2D. Yeah, my bets are they've had reports of that coming in damaged and they've then added them in the later boxes. Because when you look at it, that's you're saying you didn't get that. There you go. And they probably will make a packaging change to stop you having to do it. The fact they actually have a wiki post for it somewhat hints this has happened. It somewhat hints that people have had this problem. Question, my Hotter D6 AC/DC lithium charging limit is 4.15 volt, not 4.25 volt. Why? Is there a round around it? Can I use LiPo settings for lithium ion? You can, yes. You can use a LiPo setting for lithium ion. The overall charging profile between lithium ion... Ooh, that was quick. Do I now need to do the... I can skip. If I just do the bed level, Carl, we'll be good to go, I think. Cool, there's some calibrations on this now. Ah, frick it, let's print. So, what filament are we going to stick in, guys? Do I stick in Bambu PLA or do I stick in Genuine? I always calibrate after a firmware update. That would always be my advice, but let's go for it. So, choose your filament. Do we use Bambu Lab PLA or do we use some cheap multicolour Creality crap which has been sitting on the floor in here for days? Let's do it properly. Let's use the Bambu. Okay, so do we have the test prints still available? Let's have a look. What's it whinging about? New AMS detected. Set it. Oh, new AMS detected. Please set it up to check which extruder the AMS is connected to. Go to setup. Manual mode. Tips. Newly collected AMS. So which one did I put it into? I can't remember. Did I put it into the left or the right? I put it into the right extruder. Here we go. So the AMS is now connected. So let's just show you this. There you go, so you guys can see it. So we've got the AMS connected. I like the new screen is very nice. Oh my gosh, look at the new menu system on this. Okay, this is on another level. This is really on another level. Look at all of this. Turn the lights on and off. Look at the light on the bottom of the bed. That's really cool. We like that. I'm going to move to manual focus so you guys can see better. There we go. Wow, that's really nice. AMS view, home screen, settings, toolbox, dry filament. So look, we can dry the filament. We can set it to dry. So you can dry it on the heat bed. Cold nozzle, pull nozzle. If we go to the chamber, heat bed settings, everything under here. Main settings for all of the main. So for all of the main settings options. Yeah, that is definitely sort of iPhone territory UI. It looks a lot nicer. So print files. So this is the standard stuff. Should we do a bed sheet? Textured PI plate. Order bed leveling, flow dynamics calibration, novel offset calibration, auto. Boom. Extruder, PLA, print. Ooh. Whoa! It just opened that vent. It just tossed the spoiler up. Just so you guys know, this printer does have a USB port on the top now. There's a USB port located here. Look at that, it just tossed the vent up. It's opened the vents at the back, and it's opened the vents at the back. Look at the grills. It's opened them as well. Cold air moving through. Oh man, that is on another level. Let me turn the brightness up so you guys can see that. That is wicked. Maybe shoots the poop out of the front. That would be unique. We'll let it get running and then I'll show you some video. Let's just check, does it load properly? Because I tossed that spool. Just waiting to see, does it load the filament? AMS sounds different. My God, does the AMS sound different. Yeah, it's fed the filament all the way in. I can see the green in the tube, looking good. The AMS sounds much better. Doesn't have that high pitch that it used to have before. It's got new motors now. I think they've moved to brushless, I believe, haven't they? Oh, yeah, it's extruded. Filament's gone through. You guys show you that. Let's... focus. I'm going to manually focus this so you can see it. It's hard to show you this through the side panel. Let's try through the front, shall we? Ah, there you go. Edit the camera then. We'll open the front door in a second and have a look. Definitely better sounding. For the multicolour LED on the bed. It auto-selected, so I chose what extruder. So the question was, did I choose the extruder or did it auto-do? I had to choose what AMS was attached to what extruder, and then I just selected the filament and it did the rest. But there's only one spool of filament in there, so it just chose that one and went. We'll see what this benchy comes out like. Yeah, I think I'm going to struggle today on the length of this stream to do that because we're into a 2-hour stream now. It's doing the bed, Cal, and then it should be off. It's quiet. Man, that is quiet. It's definitely quieter just in the moves, apart from that. This printer also has crazy, incredible move speeds. How fast it can actually move the hot end is nuts. Oh, it's printing. Now, I didn't clean the print bed on this, so I don't know how it's going to come out. I did handle it earlier as well. So let's go to... Man, it's quiet. I can tell you now, this is quieter than the other printer. Let's get in there. Oh my God, is that fast? Holy crap. That is really... Look, the fan is loud. Don't get me wrong, you can certainly hear the fan. But the print head... That is crazy. Now I'm just going to come back and show you I'm actually blown away how quiet that is. Okay. Does move her out a bit. Holy crap. Can you see the print speed on the screen? So it will let you set the print speed, and that isn't even the super fast. Holy crap. My table is moving a bit here. Yeah, the tape, remember, it's not on a solid table as well, so please do take that into account. This is the table I had to put here to show you. And then, yeah, I don't want to do that on this table. I'll have to do Ludicrous on something a bit more solid. Yeah, the LED, look at it. That is crazy. My normal workbench, this isn't the normal bench. This is a temporary table I have. It's an old one. It's solid. It's strong, but it does wobble a little bit. Holy crap. So someone was saying you've got to have an external USB. Oh, there's no SD card on this, is there? So you've got to use an external SD for time-lapse. Does it not time-lapse on board? I've not looked at the spec on it yet. So does it not time-lapse to onboard memory or anything like that? So what I am going to do, I'm going to look on the app. I want to have a look what the camera looks like. How good is the camera? Oh, wow. That's pretty good as well. So let me go on the overhead. So you guys can see. That's really good. I haven't updated Bambu Slicer on this PC yet, so I will need to update Bambu Slicer on this one, but that is really nice. Now there are, I think, 5 cameras on this printer. I would love Bambu to enable the nozzle camera. Please, Bambu, give us the nozzle camera. I want to see the nozzle camera. Can you hear me now? You're on the overhead mic now. The battery's gone flat on my lav. So you're on to the studio mic now. That it went flat. Yeah, you probably hear me better now anyway. This probably does this sound better than the other mic? Probably not quite as loud, but you'll have the ambience of the room as well. Yeah, we flattened the lav back onto the room mic now. It was easier for the unboxing and everything to be on the lav. Do you have your thermal handy? I will have. Yes. I will need. I haven't got my iOS one to hand. Have I got the Android one here? That's iOS. That's iOS. Ah, was it? I could have adjusted it. I didn't know it was peaking. I can do the thermal on my phone, but I can't do it on the PC because the cable isn't long enough. I would need... I don't have a long enough cable to go full. I need to get an extension actually for this. This has reminded me that I actually need a longer cable for the thermal. Let's have a look. Checking which way around the camera is. I had the macro lens on. There you go. So if I go to desktop view, let me just position myself better. There you go. Yeah, that does look consistent. Depends when you check the heating element round. I do believe there's 2 heating elements in this, was what I was told. I believe there's 2 elements in this. But the way they tested it do take that into account. That might have shown it to look worse. There's a bulk heating element, and then you've got the stable element that keeps it heated when it's in use. If you were to measure the temp as it was heating from cold, it would look really bad. But that's normal, it's to be expected. What people should test is the running temp, because it does have a bulk heating element for for getting it up to yeah, I think it's a screen now. That'll be the bulk element. People need to make sure when they've tested it at the right moment. So let's have a look. There we go. Looks clean so far. Just waiting for it to come back. What app is that for? What app for Windows is that? This app is called IRCam. It is a paid app. I think it's $100. Might be a bit more than that. It works with a lot of cameras. It is phenomenally good. I actually have a video on this app. It is phenomenally good and what it allows you to do with these thermal cameras. It also has some real nice upscaling on it as well. So if I just move there and onto my camera, it actually does image enhancement with this thermal camera as well. So there you can see my Panasonic camera, which is overheating. But you can do really cool stuff with this app. Really, really cool stuff. So for instance, you can actually set multiple zones as well. You can do multiple color palettes. Temperature tracking. So we can click on there and do the highest temperature. We can even do a region of interest if we want to. And then you can do dual color palette. So you can actually choose a different color palette for different parts of the image. So I could say for that part there, I want a different color palette. And I can have that one as if I want it as iron, or I could have it as rain or prism. You can do some really, really, really cool stuff with this software. Nearly done. I like the light bar. Do you know what? I thought when I first saw this printer release, this is a bit of a fad. That is the Enquiries P2 Pro. That bar is cool, and I tell you why. Because if you want to know, you can just glance and see how far through the print is. Bit louder when it goes backwards. We are done. Something different. That's different. It hasn't put the calibration line at the front of the bed. It put it in front of the print. That's an interesting observation. Yeah, line's gone green, look, and then it went back to blue. So, let's have a look, shall we? The first test, first print. Let me focus. Let's get the focus. So, typical high-speed benchy. No stringing. Filament is not dried. So I was expecting. How does the little you have the, look, you always tend to have the bow line on fast benchies because of the difference in speeds when it comes to the deck. You get we call it the bow line, but it's the deck line. If you look, this line will always be here about this height when you get the change of speed, because you get a change at this point all the way up to here, from the base up to here, it's doing the same thing. And then when it gets to this point here, you get the bow line and you get just a little bit of an effect there, but it's nothing shocking at all. I'd say it looks clean. If we look at the holes and stuff, that all looks clean and tidy. Little notchy at the top of the window. How's the deck? The top and the deck. That's clean. No gaps. Couple down there. Touch. You know, I'm being really minor critical here. The tower. We'll have a look at the... Let me come up and refocus. So this was at 0.2 anyways. So you're always going to... Let's look at the first layer. I think that is about as good as it gets, if I'm honest. I don't think there's... Yeah, you'd have to be nuts to complain. That's a solid benchy. That's as perfect as I've seen from any printer. Quite notchy at the top of the window, but again, printing at 0.2. A few gaps here and there, just a touch under extrusion here and there, but I really do mean in the corners. That's basically a perfect benchy. Yeah, wondering if that layer stacking was less. Yeah, you got a little bit of stack in there, a little bit of change speed around where the base is. But I'll be honest, that's as good as anything else I've seen out there. It's that simple, innit? Wow, it really is as good as that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's gone midnight. It's time for me to go to bed. I might do a couple of live streams on this over the next couple of days, on and off, doing some random prints just to show you guys stuff. I think I'd like to do, as you said, a dual colour benchy. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Multicolour benchy, changing colours all the way up. 2 colours, obviously. We'll go for the 2 and just go all the way up. And a multi-material print. Let's get something in TPU, plastic and TPU. That'll be cool. I'm trying to think what we should do. It's the good thing with the Bambus is out the box it's just done that. A time-lapse video upload would be good too. Yes. So I'll have to run it in. So that's it from me on this one. Look after yourselves. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I will speak to you soon.